Championship on the line. BU, as expected, goes with Casey Ricard as the starting pitcher.
Yeah, back-to-back pitcher of the year. We were just talking. I said her arm must be numb at this point. And you said maybe, but she's pitched 15 innings in one game before, so she's used to this kind of pitching time.
Did so against Bucknell earlier this season in a 14-7 win for BU. Here's a look at the Army batting order. Army's entire starting 9 today bats 300 or better.
Just a crazy statistic. We're taking a look there at Taylor Brown. She's up number 2. Had a good day yesterday, but this Army Black Knight team can get their offense going, but it's just that. Sometimes their bats are pretty quiet, but throughout this tournament so far, they've had some offensive sparks.
And we are underway with a first pitch single by Annie Christiana. What a way to start things off for Army.
Yeah, great way to start things off. Now, Army is coming response yesterday against Bucknell, and they had a great offensive game, and they're looking to expand on that today against BU. It's not going to be an easy matchup here.
Never is against the Terriers, who are seeking a 3rd straight tournament title. Army searching for its 6th Patriot League tournament championship. As Taylor Brown steps in, Army the top seed in this tournament, winning the regular season for the first time since 2010. Beat Bucknell 3-2 on Thursday. Yesterday lost to BU 8-0 in a 6-inning run rule game before beating Bucknell again 6-1. And a reminder, Army must win twice today to win the championship. Boston must win just 1 game. Brown fouls it off. The .377 batter. Paige, we've seen all season the type of offensive player that she is.
Yeah, and we talked about this throughout the weekend and tournament, but she had a lot of injuries in her career. This is the first year she's kind of had without any injuries or sicknesses, and she's having a standout year.
First team all-conference, has a hit in 13 of her last 14 games as she fouls away the bunt, and that levels things 2-2. 6 multi-hit games in that recent run of a hit in 13 of 14. And a 2-2 from Casey Ricard, who has 227 strikeouts this season. Ricard has once again been elite in the postseason. 32 1/3 in the postseason in her career. Has allowed just 1 earned run, 39 strikeouts, and 1 walk. Hasn't tossed a walk yet this postseason, as it's chopped away foul.
And Ricard is super disciplined in moments like these. We saw her fighting off 3-2 counts and just fouls after foul after foul this weekend. And most times she's come out on top.
An all-conference battle, Ricard to Brown. That is well hit deep to right center, and Taylor Brown can touch them all. A 2-run home run. What a start for the Black Knights.
Yeah, what a moment for the junior. We see the horse is out. Just to get her offense started this early on in the game against a really good BU team. A great start for the Black Knights. Big smiles.
First runs that BU has allowed this entire postseason.
Yeah, like you said, over her career, only allowing 1 run, doubling that with just 1 swing.
And after giving up that home run for the first time this postseason, BU will make a pitching change. Casey Ricard enters, and it's Danica Nell who enters in her place. We will step aside. 2-0 Army as Ricard exits here in the first. In turn of events, a 2-run home run by Army in the first, and a pitching change. Danica Nell, the freshman from Canada, enters the circle for BU.
Yeah, Coach Ashley Waters took no time to spare to change up the pitchers like we were talking about. Ricard having a longer weekend, a lot of pitches thrown, but Danica, she's a freshman, but she's been in high-pressure situations before. She was a member of the Canadian Junior National Softball team. She helped her squad qualify for the 2025 World Cup U18 tournament.
Talented young pitcher, but she is just that, a young pitcher. The freshman who missed some time with an injury earlier this season steps in on this championship Sunday, now facing Ashton White, the Conference Player of the Year. Nell last pitched against Lafayette, made 2 appearances, 8 innings, 0 runs, 5 strikeouts, and 2 walks. It was highlighted by a complete game shutout in the Saturday game against the Leopards, her 4th complete game shutout of the season. And she's quickly ahead 0-2.
And what a position for this freshman to find herself in during a game that matters most. We were told that Casey Picard kind of took Danica under her wing this year, taught her the ropes of BU softball.
The other 2 pitchers besides Ricard, both freshmen, so Ricard has been in a leadership role, and one of those freshmen in Nell starts her day off with a strikeout.
Take another look at that. Nice pitch by Nell. Freshman versus Player of the Year in Ashton White.
And the freshman wins that duel. Here's Caitlin Newbern, the .304 hitter. We saw yesterday that solo home run, part of back-to-back home runs in the first inning for Army, who loved to hit the long ball in the first inning. Newbern 2 of 10 in this postseason. Of course, highlighted by that home run. And Nell again ahead 1-2.
What a way for Army to start this game. Like we said before, losing 8-0 the last time out with Boston, but they found their rhythm again against Bucknell.
8-0 loss in 6 innings, then a 6-1 win over Bucknell for Army yesterday. Got the Black Knights to this point. Meanwhile, BU undefeated in this postseason, 2-0 so far, getting into the final day, needing to win just 1 game to claim a 3rd straight conference title. 2-2. Now the native of Manitoba, Canada, getting some early action on this championship Sunday. And she misses, ball 4 as Newbern heads down to first.
And Army gets some life back on the bases. We talked to Coach Ashley Waters just about the pitching on this team, and she also calls her team selfless. She said that Danica, although she was injured in the beginning of the season, she wanted to get back, and the biggest reason she wanted to get back was to help out Casey.
Yeah, Casey needed some help. There was not a ton of pitching depth in terms of just numbers on this roster. It's Ricard and then 2 freshmen. Nell missed some time with an injury, as he said, worked her way back. She's been very impressive this year, 3.25 ERA, now 67 strikeouts, 4 shutouts in 6 complete games. Here she is facing Leela Hurst. 2 for 3 day yesterday. It's fouled away.
And a good response here by Nell. After walking that last batter, she gets up on this count.
0-2 on Hurst. Hurst hits it out to right, and it's tracked down by Nivar, 2 gone. Brings up Emma Murchison with 2 away, the .315 hitter for the Black Knights. Murchison 1 for 2 yesterday and is 2 for 7 in the postseason overall. Nell generates a foul off. Nell was inspired to play softball by her older sister, who pitched through high school, and Nell actually learned to pitch 2 ways. One, from watching her sister, and 2 from watching YouTube videos.
Wow.
And here she is, a freshman pitcher on a championship Sunday. Murchison again fouls it off, and now a strike away from getting out of this first. A first inning that has seen Army score 2. A Taylor Brown 2-strike, 2-run home run to give Army an early lead over BU. That gets away from Christopher, and Newbern trots into second.
And we've seen throughout this weekend how crucial it is for that runner to get to second. So you got to limit those errors. We were talking about this before too. We're going to take another look at that pitch. But the winners of these past games have usually been the ones with the least amount of errors. That's been the difference.
The errors and the free bases have crushed so many teams this weekend. Oh, and that misses. 3-2. Full count, 2 down from Danica Nell. Getting inserted midway through this first. Chopped away foul. Again, the 3-2. Base hit. Newbern rounds third. She will hold up at the corner, and Army continues its first inning success.
Yeah, and this Boston team who's had a dominant defense throughout this tournament, shutting out teams, having a hard time getting out of this one.
BU had not allowed a single run across its first 2 games as we look back at this last single.
Never mind single runs, there's been very limited hits in general against BU.
It had been a dominant pitching performance by Ricard, but she gets chased early in this one, giving up the 2-run homer. And this first inning continues. Let's see what Brianna Kuhnfair can do, the .313 batter. Kuhnfair, the freshman, 1 for 4 in the postseason. Kuhnfair, one of 3 freshman starters in this Army lineup, a very young Black Knights team. And she's down to her final strike. One, 2 from Danica Nell. These Army hitters continue to battle. 2 strikes. We've seen now 2 hits with 2 strikes on these batters in the first.
Yeah, and John, we talked about how Boston hasn't allowed too many runs or have needed to. Let me rephrase. Army has not allowed too many runs, so the offense hasn't needed to score too many, although they can, yesterday getting 8. A great way to wrap up this inning by the freshman Nell.
Couple of strikeouts for Danica Nell, but the big story, Taylor Brown, a 2-run home run, taking Casey Ricard out of the ballpark and bringing Ricard out of the game. Army leads 2-0 as we go to the bottom of the... Come on as a reliever this postseason, but today gets the start for Army.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of her throughout this weekend. She's had a successful day, or weekend rather. She did pitch a majority of the game against Boston last time around.
She's made 3 postseason appearances. 5 innings pitched as we look at the BU lineup. It's an offense that scored 1 run in the first game and then exploded for 8 against Army in game 2.
Yeah, like I said earlier, this is a team that hasn't needed to score that many runs in the past, but are certainly able to. Scored 8 yesterday.
Brooke Depies leads things off for BU. Depies, the .423 hitter. What a season it has been for the Defensive Player of the Year in the Patriot League. More than just a defensive standout, though.
Yeah.
Depies loops it, and it's brought in by Christiana for the first out. That brings up the freshman Cameron Lyons, who has had a big postseason. Let's look back at this last catch. Lyons hitting .289 this year, has a hit in 7 of her last 8 games, and was 1 for 3 with 2 RBI against Army. Breaking ball fouled off, and Izzo quickly up 0-2. Izzo part of this Army pitching staff. Coach Jen Consul, of course, a pitching guru, feels good about her staff. She said, we don't have one pitcher who can win it all for us, but our group as a whole can do that. We've seen that this weekend. It has been a collective effort from this Army staff to get to this point.
Yeah, absolutely. And the defining trait, when I asked Coach Consul, she said that this team is resilient. We're seeing that here. They just respond really well to adversity.
And today it's BU who will have to respond. Trailing 2-0. The 2-run home run by Taylor Brown, giving Army the edge. Casey Ricard comes out. Of course, BU comes back in this game. Maybe we'll see her re-enter, but then there's the strategy of a potential game 2 today. You'd have to save her for that game as well. Bouncer to second, and it's misplayed by Micah Dones. First error of the game for Army.
Yeah, like you said, Coach Waters certainly always having strategy. She's been here for quite a while, has found a lot of success here, and she is actually excited about this year. She feels like she can be a coach again rather than just a manager managing around talent. She said that she has enjoyed helping this team grow throughout the year.
And it's a team that has had to grow. As Doherty rolls it to second, Dones another bobble, and that's in time. Wow. I don't know, Paige. That was a close play down at second.
Yeah, we may be able to get another look, but that one was very close. There's a little bit of hesitation on that play. We'll take another look. Ty usually goes to the runner. Let's wait. And oh, man. That was very close. That was close to me. What do you think, John?
If that left foot, I think that left foot got there first. But a very close play at the bag. And it's out number 2 as Megan Coyle steps in.
And John, that's a big call there. It goes from 1 out, runners on first and second.
Doherty takes off, and she's safe. Obstruction called anyway. So Doherty's in there.
And that's a big steal right there, getting in good position to score.
By the way, Doherty, after grounding into the fielder's choice, now 0 for 16 against Army this season. A shocking number for one of the best hitters in the conference. .1-0 and Megan Coyle. Coyle is 0 for 11 over her last 4 games, but if you're BU, you have a runner in scoring position. This is who you want up. She leads the Patriot League in RBI this season with 51.
And Coach Waters says, regardless of the play, she's just the best kid ever. She has a great attitude and mindset about her. She's a big leader on this team, always lifting everybody up.
The Lafayette transfer, 2 years as a Leopard, now as a Terrier. That's in there for a strike. Hitters count. Little skipper to short. Brown on the money, and that ends the first. Quite the start for Army. A 2-0 edge in this must-win game for the Black Knights as we go to the second after this.
Postseason as well.
Fantastic season for White. There is DPS. And this is one of the big storylines for BU. The injury to Libby Walsh, who had been the standout shortstop throughout the season. Walsh is now out for the rest of the season, and that has moved DPS from second to shortstop. Micah Dones leads things off in this top of the second. We have seen some flip-flopping even in this postseason run for BU. We've seen Ada Lucier and Brooke DPS swap even within the same inning between second and shortstop.
Yeah, it often depends on if there's a right-hand batter or left-hand batter.
Dones takes the strike. Danica Nell stays in the circle. The freshman pitcher from Manitoba, Canada. Canada, proud softball country, ranked 6th in the most recent WBSC World Rankings, and won bronze a couple years back at the Tokyo Olympics back in 2021, the first Olympic medal for the Canadian softball team. Grounder. Nell makes the play, one away.
Dones looked like she could have let that one go. It was slightly too inside, but take another look at that one. She was almost trapped to swing. Good play by Nell.
Brings up the 9-hitter in Sienna Tepley. Tepley, a key piece at the bottom of this lineup. One of the 3 freshman starters today for Army, and a second-team all-conference player at that. Bunt laid down. Paulett fires in time, 2 down.
That bunt just hit a little too hard. We'll take another look at that one. A close one there. But Boston was able to scrape out the out.
Go to the top of the order. Annie Christiana steps in, another freshman for Army. You'll see them start anywhere from 3, 4, 5 freshmen. That was one of the things early on this season. Jen Consul looks at her lineup card and says, oh, 4 or 5 freshmen starting. This is going to be a year of learning for us. But it ended up being a year of a lot of success for Army. She said that she knew that this freshman class would have freshman moments, but she also knew what this group was capable of. They've been capable of some very impressive things. Three straight balls tossed to the leadoff batter, Christiana. There's a strike from Nell.
Like you said, 2 younger teams here, which points to a very bright future for both. See 2 young teams in the championship matchup. It's going to be some good softball for a while, as that one's backhanded. Just stopped though, no out.
An infield single for Annie Christiana, who entering this game was just 1 for 10 in the postseason, and she is 2 for 2 over the first 2 innings of this game.
And like you said, sometimes there's some freshman moments, and this postseason could be that for her. A new kind of experience for these athletes. They're getting used to the postseason.
Well, this is somebody who has some experience, and we saw what she could do back in the first inning. A 2-run home run by Taylor Brown, the difference in this game. It's been a resurgent season for Brown, having the best season of her career after having a season-ending injury last year, just 7 games into the season. It's been an injury-plagued career, in fact. here in West Point for Taylor Brown. Brown watches strike two.
Let's not forget, John, what she did on strike two last time around. This is a player that has a lot of composure.
Had that two-run home run and a full count pitch from Casey Ricard back in the first. Now facing Danica Nell. Brown lifts it, and it's caught. Addie Lucier brings it in to end the top of the second. So Army gets a runner on base, but no runs to show for it. As we go to the bottom of the second, Black Knights lead it 2-0 on this championship Sunday. We have quite the coaching matchup in this game. Army's Jen Consul, the 2025 Patriot League Coach of the Year, versus Ashley Waters, the 5-time Coach of the Year in the league.
Yeah, and Coach Ashley Waters, starting off with her, she just built a lot of success over at the BU side, but Jen Consul creating something new. She started as an assistant coach, then was an interim head coach, didn't know what was going to happen after that, just made the most of the opportunity, and then landed as the head coach, and since then she's only going up for the Army team.
Yeah, you look back to 2023, during that interim season, she claimed the team's first postseason win, a singular game, since 2017, and here she is, 2 years later, 2 wins away from a conference title. Also, of course, winning the regular season championship for the first time since 2010. Here's Sophie Nivar. Nivar was 1 for 2 with a home run. Her 8th consecutive start, the longest such streak in her career, and she is 5 of 12 over these last 7 starts. And the sophomore from Texas floats it away foul. It's like Army, a young team, BU, an inexperienced team, a squad. You look back to last year's team that played in the final of this tournament. Just 3 starters from that game are back on the roster. Brooke Depies, Kylie Doherty, Casey Ricard. That's it.
Nivar doing a good job just fighting away these strikes that are right on the line of the strike zone.
Five, 6, 7. Nivar, Williams, and Paulin. Nivar got a slight piece of it to stay alive. One, 2 from Izzo. And she picks up the strikeout. Tossed to first in time, 1 away. First strikeout for Brianna Izzo.
Take another look at that one. Just hit the ground. Some excitement from Izzo.
I love her strikeout stump. Always energetic.
Very similar every time.
Now faces Taisha Williams getting the start. Williams has been a pinch hitter over the postseason, 1 for 2. Somebody who has moved in and out of the starting lineup throughout the season, but has been a pretty consistent bat in her college career, a .298 career hitter. Williams watches another ball. Ball 4, Williams gets on. First walk of the game tossed by Brianna Izzo.
Yeah, and any way to get on the bases will work for BU. Need to get some base runners on right now to give themselves a little bit of life. Early in the game, though, only the second inning.
Still a lot of softball left to play. The good news for BU is that Kiyomi Pollitt is at bat. What a run she has had as of late. An honorable mention all-league player last week and had a home run yesterday, a 2-run blast.
And we noticed this yesterday. Her interesting grip worked really well for her yesterday.
2-run homer, there it is. Worked for her yesterday, worked for her over the final week of the regular season, hit .545 in that final week entering the postseason. Pollitt fouls it off. This is a California battle. Irvine, California in the circle with Brianna Izzo, and Pollitt from Martinez, California. Called strike 3. Second K of the inning for Izzo.
Good off-speed pitch by Izzo. We'll take another look at that one. Right on the outside line.
Izzo fired up once again. 2 down in this second. Livia Christopher digs in. Christopher 1 for 2 against Army in Game 3. She's 1 for 3 overall in the postseason. Williams goes, and she's safe. Second stolen base. BU being very aggressive early in this game of the bases.
Yes, they are. That just shows they see the value of that second place runner, especially with 2 outs.
BU's been ultra efficient on the base paths this season. Second of the conference in stolen bases. The Terriers have only been tossed out twice attempting steals this season. Christopher grounds it. No trouble for Brown, and that ends the second. We go to the third. BU strands another runner on second. Black Knights still lead at a 2-0 edge here in West Point. Fans, follow the Patriot League on social media on Instagram, Threads, X, YouTube, and LinkedIn, all under the handle @Patriot League. And for schedules, scores, and highlights, follow us on X @Patriot League HQ.
Yeah, we just posted a few Army features. Men's lacrosse, we have Christian Fournier in his path to med school. We have 2 men's lacrosse players who went on a trip to Europe, the Band of Brothers trip. That was awesome. Cooper Jackson on the tennis team. She's going to be a pilot, so we did a story on that. Yeah, and a track athlete also got a scholarship that she applied for and had interviews for during the Patriot League Championships. So a lot of success coming from Army.
So going from West Point, I want to go back to the first person, West Point to med school.
Very uncommon.
Amazing.
Yeah, there's only a few slots of people that can go directly to med school. I think it's 20 to 30 of cadets are allowed to even apply. So a great feat, especially to do while playing lacrosse, which is also taxing. You know how great that program is. And he actually had to take the test to get to med school right before a game that decided the season. So,
wow.
Yeah.
What
Go check it out. It's a good story.
Definitely check it out. @Patriot League on Instagram, Threads, X, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Top 3, Ashton White digs in. 0 for 1 with a strikeout, the Patriot League Player of the Year. White, this is well hit towards the gap, and it's down. A single for Ashton White, and Army leads off with the base runner.
But a good job by Boston to get it in quick, keeping White on first. She's usually an aggressive base runner, so keeping her on first is big for the Terriers.
White now 6 of 12 in the postseason. She's looking like the player of the year.
Yeah, she is, and this team is looking totally different than the one that we saw yesterday morning.
And that Army team lost 8-0 against this BU team. A run rule loss, in fact, as Caitlin Newburn steps in. Newburn drew that walk back in the first. BU trailing for the first time in this postseason. Army taking the lead on a first inning 2-run home run by Taylor Brown against Casey Ricard, who was taken out in favor of Danica Nell. And to Nell's credit, she has kept this Army offense scoreless since entering. And a chance to turn two. Depies the flip. No throw from Lucier. One away.
A good heads-up play by BU to get that lead runner out.
That middle of the infield, it's kind of a makeshift middle of the infield with the injury to Walsh, but they've been smooth this postseason. Here's Leela Hurst. Hurst 0 for 1, a fly out to center. Hurst riding a 6-game hitting streak, and after the fly out, now 5 for 10 in the postseason. Hurst chops it. Depies goes 2. Same play, fielder's choice, 2 down.
That looked like a similar play there. Lucier hustling to second base. You saw both times. Making it there just in time. We'll take another look at that one. Caught that one on the move.
A welcome sign for BU that this middle infield finding its stride without Libby Walsh, out with injury. As Emma Murchison steps in. Look, during the regular season in conference games, BU was 12-0 when Walsh was healthy, but was just 2-4 with Walsh either out or playing through an injury. And BU committed 15 errors in those 6 games compared to just 10 in the 12 games where she was healthy. Grounder, that gets through. Hit number 2 this inning for Army, and it's Emma Murchison who was 2 for 2.
And just to go back to the loss of Libby, I mean, your shortstop is usually your best defenseman, so losing that middle part of your infield and trying to adjust so on the fly, like we talked about in previous broadcasts. We got the information just before this tournament, so this is something that was more of a last-minute out for the season injury.
Such a tough injury. We certainly send Libby our best. What a talented student athlete she is. As Brianna Kuhnfair steps in. First and second for Army. Kuhnfair 0 for 1 with a strikeout back in the first. She actually stepped into a very similar situation back in the first. Had 2 on with 2 outs, and she struck out. Kuhnfair down to her final strike. Danica Nell, 2 strikeouts so far for the freshman. That's popped to right, and Nivar brings it in to end the top of the third. A couple of hits, but BU keeps Army off the scoreboard. Terriers still down by 2, back to bat next. Now to all the moms out there. And the moms in attendance enjoying watching their daughters play, competing for a championship. Army a 2-0 edge. Addie Lucier leads things off. 9-1-2 for the Terriers. Pokes this to Brown. One gone.
And a good stop there by Brown. It had a weird bounce, but she was able to stick with it. Take another look at this one.
So Brown, third time that she's made a play today at shortstop. One away for the top of the order in Brooke Depies. Depies 0 for 1 today after a 4 for 4 game yesterday. Just out of this world stuff from somebody whose bat has been on fire all season. And she's done this while playing with a broken face that she actually suffered against Army back in the regular season. Depies loops it to shallow center, and it's tracked in by Micah Dones, 2 outs.
And Army really limiting these errors here. We saw plays like that get a little ugly yesterday against Army, but they're learning quick, figuring it out, keeping that communication up, and not making those errors today.
Dones hauls it in for the second out. And Izzo 1 out away from a 1-2-3 frame for the first time today as Cameron Lyon steps in. Izzo has been cruising so far, just 1 hit allowed and 1 walk for the Army starter. Lyons grounds it. Brown again makes the play, and the Black Knights retire the side. As we move on to the 4th, a quick half inning. Army 2, BU nothing on this championship Sunday in West Point, New York. Perfect day for softball. A perfect day to hand out that trophy. The Patriot League tournament title on the line. BU needs to win just 1 game today. Army must win 2. Micah Dones bounces the first pitch to Addie Lucier. 1 pitch, 1 away.
Yeah, we were talking about it yesterday, but once you get into that losing bracket, it's a tough journey to get to this point. Army had to play Bucknell yesterday, then win 2 games today, while BU just had to win 1 after that winner's bracket game.
Much easier journey by just winning the first 2, which BU has done every single year that it's qualified for this tournament. The Terriers are 10 for 10 in terms of getting to the final round since joining the league. Here's Sienna Tepley. Oh, that's misplayed by Depies. And Tepley gets aboard.
Depies did everything right there, just a unfortunate bounce. We'll take another look at that one. Puts her body on the line, tries to get in front of it, but just bounces and hits her arm. Oh, such a poor bounce.
Goes down as an E6, and it brings up Annie Christiana, the leadoff slap hitter for Army. Fouls away the bunt.
And Army just controlling this game right now. We talked about it yesterday. They are the #1 seed, but after BU won that first game, it seemed like they looked pretty good. This is a good matchup here, the 1 and 2 seed.
Yeah, that 8-0 win for BU, the best performance we've seen from any team in this postseason. But Army Trying to pull off the win, force that decisive game 7. Christiana lays it down, and it trickles foul. You see just how close that was.
A good heads-up aware play by Boston to let that go out. What a pretty bunt.
And she felt good about it, too. 2 strikes on Christiana, who is 2 for 2 today. So the bunt now out of the equation. Hello, Kylie Doherty. Back to the circle. Nell goes 2, and Lucier has the second out.
Lucier holding that throw to first, trying to limit any errors possible. Take another look at this hit. Nell able to pick that one up. Quick heads-up play to second.
Here comes Taylor Brown. She's the difference maker in this game. That 2-run home run back in the first, the only runs we've seen so far.
That's what's crazy about the game of softball. A whole game can be decided by just one swing. We saw that with Boston with Sophie Nivar's home run.
BU eking out that 1-0 win over Lehigh in a game that started on Thursday and then was suspended for 41 hours and 15 minutes until we picked it back up yesterday morning bright and early.
Yeah, we've seen the curve of weather starting off with lots of rain, even lightning. And then Saturday and Sunday just turned out to be beautiful days. Not a cloud sky today. I told you, today was supposed to be better.
You were right. Your weather channel was correct, right? That's your go-to.
What can I say?
Seriously, not a cloud in the sky. That is not hyperbole. I do not see a single cloud.
Oh, I thought that was one, but it looks like a plane.
Yeah, cloud-free day. Brown takes the strike.
Nice look.
Beautiful setting, a picture-perfect day on the banks of the Hudson River. Located in the Hudson Valley. Brown sharply to short. DePies this time able to record the out. And that wraps up the top of the 4th. We are midway through this game. BU needs to get its offense going if it's going to claim this game 6 and win the trophy. Army still leads it by 2 on ESPN+. Bottom of the 4th, Army a 2-0 lead over BU. The Terriers need to win just 1 game today to claim the championship. Army must win 2. And it's 3-4-5 due up for a BU team that is sitting on just 1 hit. And Kylie Doherty leads things off for the Terriers. Doherty, who has been one of the best hitters in the conference this season, leads the league in home runs, 13, 7th in batting average, 2nd in RBI and slugging percentage. She is 0 for 16 this year against Army.
I wonder what that is. Just not a good matchup here for her.
Doherty, yeah.
I have been saying Army's been controlling this game so far, but it's not going to take much for BU to get back into this one. It's 2 runs, as we saw. It's very doable to do in just 1 swing. And it seems like the attitude and emotions are still up on the BU side. We saw them dancing, singing right before coming back to break. A lot left of this one.
Midway point of this matchup. When these squads played yesterday, it was an 8-0 BU run roll win in 6 innings. Different flavor to this one. And Doherty takes strike 2.
And Izzo just locked in this game.
Izzo getting the start today. We've seen her in a reliever role throughout this postseason. The conference leader in saves, finding success early as Doherty bounces it away foul. Doherty, Coyle, and Nivar due up for BU. Doherty on the ground. White in time for the first out. Brings up Megan Coyle.
Another look at that one. Just got pulled to third. Doherty continues to struggle on offense against Army.
Here's another player who has struggled as of late, Megan Coyle. 0 for 1 today, 0 for 12 over her last 5 games, including this game.
We talk about a lot, just the mental lows you can get in offensively. It's usually just a mindset shift.
And on the flip side, it can sometimes only take one swing to completely reverse that trend.
Yeah.
Coyle sends it foul. Coyle hitting .312 on the season, trying to crack the code of Brianna Izzo, who has allowed just 1 hit through 3 1/3. There's ball 3, 3 1 of the way. Ball 4. Second walk of the game drawn by the Terriers. And we will see a change at bat. Amy Metz steps in. Metz went in defensively last half inning. And now steps in to hit for Sophie Nivar. This is a change that we've seen throughout this weekend. Metz and Nivar alternating in right field. And now both coaches chatting things over with some of the key characters in this moment.
And we talk about this a lot, but especially in the postseason, we see coaches come out and reset their athletes a lot. Sometimes even after, like we see here, just one walk.
Jen Consul, the Army head coach, a pitching guru, was brought in at Army as a pitching coach. Spent 3 years at UNC Charlotte as a pitching coach, a fantastic program down in North Carolina, and she was an all-MAC pitcher at Canisius. Metz watches a strike. Metz 0 for 2 in the postseason this year. The career 160 batter. That skips it away foul. Izzo a strike away from another K. And here comes another train, Paige.
Oh, yes. This is my
There
favorite
it
time
is.
of day. I went over there. I didn't go on the train tracks. Oh, my goodness.
Good.
I went by the train tracks. Ooh, and it gets popped up. This is going to be in between a few Army players, but easily caught. But I was walking by the train tracks just to see the nice view because, you know, we have the Hudson, we have mountains everywhere. It looks like somewhere from, like, Avatar. It looks very nature-esque. And it was just beautiful. The train tracks, we were asking this, merge into one.
Makes sense.
Yep. That was
Makes
our question
sense.
yesterday.
Well, the rally caps are on. Only the bottom of the 4th, but BU's offense looking for something, and they won't find anything here. Izzo helps out her own cause, and that brings us to the 5th. BU scoreless through 4. Army a 2-0 edge. Top 5 next.
Welcome back to the Patriot League Softball Championships. The Patriot League is live on ESPN Plus all season long. Download the ESPN app or go to patriotleague.tv.
10 out of 10, no notes.
Thank you, John. Took your role over for a little bit.
Look at that hat. I have to get one of those.
Yeah, that's... Oh, there's some passion coming from over there right now.
Yes.
Wow. Look at these two cuties.
Full of little Army fans. They're happy right now, rightfully so.
I would be too. Chilling out with mom. Beautiful weather. Can't be better. Watching softball.
And a train rolling by. I feel like all little kids love trains.
Yeah, me included.
Same here. Ashton White leads things off in this fifth. The Patriot League Player of the Year. 3-4-5 due up. Army must win this game to force the decisive game 7. BU simply needs to win one game today to win the championship.
Yeah, well-deserved rest time yesterday after that 8-0 win from BU. Cut it down to 6 innings.
Now chatting with Livia Christopher. And not only is this uncharted territory, BU trailing for the first time this postseason, but historically, the Terriers are a perfect 9-0 against Army in the Patriot League tournament. That includes 2016 and 2023 when these squads met in the final.
And as we talked about before, both teams here with new faces. Took a little bit into this year to kind of figure out their identity, figure out what fuels them. As you see these two facing off, a freshman versus player of the year, Ashton White.
And the freshman Nell got the better of White back in the first, struck her out. That was the first batter that Nell faced. Welcome to the ballgame.
Right. And like we also talk about, although she's a freshman and multiple other freshmen on the team, they don't really appear to act as freshmen, as that one rips through between third and short. A great piece of that by White. But the freshmen seem just experienced, they seem composed, especially someone like Nell who's had national experience. She's been on big stages before.
Right, experience with the Canadian junior national team as we look back at this last single.
It's a hard hit ball. Giving Army some life on the bases here.
Brings up Caitlin Newburn after the hard hit single by White, who has another multi-hit game. White now 7 for 13 in the postseason, batting over 500. Newburn, meanwhile, 0 for 1 today, though she did walk back in the first. Newburn skies it to Metz. One down.
Got a nice piece of that one. Looked like that was kind of an all or nothing swing.
Brings up Leela Hurst. Hurst is from Boston, but a different Boston, Georgia.
Didn't know there was a Boston, Georgia.
Neither did I. Throw back to first. Not in time.
And Coyle putting her body on the line there. Oh, that's Lucier. Putting her body on the line there. That could have gotten bad if that was a pass ball to first, so she was like a brick wall back there stopping that ball.
Hurst fouls it off again. By the way, 16 towns or cities named Boston in the United States.
Wow.
Boston, Massachusetts, and Boston, Georgia, 2 of them.
Being from Rhode Island, Boston, Massachusetts is the one that stands out. The Celtics.
Yes.
Getting their first win, finally.
That's popped up, and Christopher hauls it in.
And BU defense stringing some outs together here. White still stands on first.
A much needed win for the Celtics yesterday as we look back at this pop out of the bunt.
You're telling me. The series has been disgusting, but yeah. Popped right up there. An easy catch.
Here's Emma Murchison. Murchison 2 for 2 with a couple of singles. Second team all-league catcher. Murchison lifts this. Metz finds it and ends the top of the 5th. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Army 9 outs away from forcing a decisive 7th game. BU to bat after this. Oh, look at that. Boating on the Hudson. Love to see it. Having some fun at this Mother's Day. We go to the bottom of the 5th, and we remain in a 2-0 ball game. Brianna Izzo has been lights out in the circle.
I have a story.
Let's hear it.
On the break, I have a Ring camera outside my apartment. I'm looking at my Ring camera. A dog runs out the elevator. There's a dog roaming in my apartment, just running around my floor. What a surprise I just saw on my Ring. That was something. And that goes to third. Easy throw to first. And Army just doing a great job today, just locking down on their defense. They know the 2 runs. They haven't got a run since then, so them locking in on their defense and making sure that that lead stays is a huge part of this win today.
Just 1 hit allowed by Brianna Izzo.
You know, I'm sure Army's aware of the stat of how little runs BU allows in the postseason.
You know, they firsthand experienced it yesterday, shut out by the Terriers, an 8-0 run rule win. Grounded, Izzo could make the play, and Christopher gets there.
Yeah, those hard hit balls to the pitcher. I feel like sometimes it's luck whether you get it or not. You either have that, you put your glove in the right place, or unfortunately you don't. We'll take another look at that one. She tried to backhand it, just rolls up her arm. Kept it in front of her though. Taylor Brown recovers that one.
It does go down as an error, so an E1, and Christopher gets on base, brings up Addie Lucier.
Ooh, that one looked close.
Lucier is 0 for her last 25 over the last 13 games, including today. Trying to break out of this prolonged cold spell.
You always feel for those athletes who are just in those spells. Like you said, all it takes usually is just one good hit. But when you're in that, it's a tough place to be in.
Lucier 0 for 1 today with a ground out to shortstop. Comes from a softball family. Her mom, Jessica, was a standout at St. John's. St. John's having a tremendous season, just won the Big East regular season title, led by former Army head coach Michelle DiPolo.
Small world.
Who had led Army to its last tournament title back in 2013.
I always say the sports world seems so big, but when you really look into it, it's so small.
So small. Especially the softball community, very tight-knit. Everyone knows each other.
Right.
(3-1) on Lucier. Ball 4.
And that was pitched to the same spot 3 times. They were looking for that strike call, but just not getting it today. You got to adjust. We'll take another look at that one. I think there was 3 pitches in that exact spot. It's a close one.
And Lucia remaining patient, and while maybe her bat has him to working, you'll gladly take a walk at this point if you're BU.
Oh, absolutely.
You need base runners, and it sets up the top of the order. Brooke Depies with runners in first and second. Oh, good block by Murchison.
I believe this might be one of the first times BU has had an opportunity like this. Runners on first and second, only 1 out.
It is. First time that BU has had multiple base runners today. Comes in the bottom of the 5th. Depies, base hit. Here comes Christopher. She's in there. Lucier coming home. She scores.
Wow.
We are tied at 2. Brooke Depies coming through.
And look at those dance moves. That base hit turns into a 2-run RBI. And we say it time and time again, those free bases is what's going to be the difference makers in these types of games. Boston U ties it up after a quiet first couple of innings. We'll take a look at that one again. Just a hard hit ball. Just passes by Taylor Brown. An overthrow there results in 2 runs for the Terriers. What a crazy turn of events there, John.
Huge swing, and it results in a pitching change. Caitlin Flanders will enter the circle, and we will step aside. It's a brand new ball game, tied at 2 in the 5th. Pitching change for Army. Caitlin Flanders enters the circle for the Black Knights.
Yeah, the sophomore who plays like a senior, she's super composed in the circle, and after that, 2 runs entering for Boston U, a pitching change. Just to reset, it wasn't really a pitching error at all, just an overthrow. But a walk led to some free bases.
Think about it, it was the error on Izzo in the circle, then a walk drawn by Lucier, and then Depies, the single, which, okay, you think that scores 1 run, but then the overthrow, the E7 by Tepley allows the 2nd run to score. And a hit by pitch drawn by Lyons.
And John, that hit scores 1 run maybe.
Right.
It was an aggressive go by the Terriers, but we've seen them be aggressive all day today on the bases. It's paying off this time around.
And frankly, they've had to be because the bats hadn't been active until this inning. Here comes Kylie Doherty. She is 0 for 17 this season against Army, but with a hit here, can give the Terriers the lead. And there it is. BU, a 3-2 lead. Kylie Doherty with the RBI single.
Yeah, and this game just all about momentum. The momentum was all on the Army side until this inning here. Now BU seemingly all the momentum. We see some dancing in the dugout. We see cheering on the sides. A great moment here for Boston U, really showing, like we said in the beginning, the ability to overcome adversity.
Kylie Doherty, her first hit against Army all season. What a time to do it.
Absolutely, and I'm saying this slightly prematurely, but I wonder now if Ricard will possibly come back into this game to close this one out.
I was just thinking that. Nell has been strong, but Ricard is tossing in the BU bullpen.
Good observation, John. I didn't even look over there. There's Ricard warming up.
She was chased after just 2 batters today. Gave up the single and then the 2-run home run to Taylor Brown.
Obviously, Coach Ashley Waters having some strategy there. A possible 2nd game, wanting to give her some rest. She's also thrown 2 games so far. One of them was only 6 innings, but a lot of innings thrown in a small amount of time for Ricard.
Ricard gave up the 2 runs earlier today. She'd only given up 1 earned run in her entire postseason career entering today. That was across 32 2/3 innings. But Taylor Brown, with 1 swing, surpasses that total.
That's crazy, just 2 swings equal 2 runs.
Coyle skies it, and it's tracked down by Kuhnfair. Bit of a heart-stopping moment there for Army.
Yeah, we've seen those in-between balls be a struggle for Army throughout this tournament. But that's just a communication change. That's a simple conversation in a huddle. Yeah, there's some conversation there in the dugout between...
Well, we see a pinch hitter.
Did you see that? Is she doing sign language over there at first base?
There's that nonverbal communication, that's for sure.
Looks like sign language.
It's Kylie Doherty who just picked up that hit. We will see a change. Naivar will re-enter the game for BU.
Doherty, a player that we mentioned, has great numbers but struggles against Army.
That her first hit of the season against the Black Knights.
Oh, wow. And Navar, she had a hot bat. She got that home run that had the sole run against Lehigh.
BU only needed that one run, a 1-0 win, then an 8-0 win against Army, now leading 3-2 with a 3-run bottom of the 5th. Sophie Ivar tries to keep things rolling.
Army close to getting out of this when they got 2 outs.
Ivar down 0-2 against Caitlin Flanders. Flanders making her 3rd postseason appearance this year. 9 2/3, gave up 3 earned runs, 9 strikeouts, and 0 walks over her first 2 appearances this weekend. And she did pitch against BU yesterday. Went 3 2/3, gave up 4 runs, but just 1 earned because of the Army defensive miscues. First team all-conference pitcher. A strike away from getting out of this 5th. Oh, bases loaded. Second hit by pitch, tossed by Caitlin Flanders.
I think that's the 2nd time she's been hitting that elbow this tournament.
She's shaking off that arm over there at first. Oof.
Thank God for that shoulder pad.
Taisha Williams slated to bat, but it appears as if BU will send up another pinch hitter. And it's Kieran McHugh who digs in. Miss a change in the DP spot.
Now, Boston, you really have an opportunity here to create a decent lead for themselves going into the 6th.
What a spot for the freshman McHugh. She's 0 for 1 this postseason, the .275 hitter, and former 4-time All-State player out of Virginia. Bases loaded. Lyons on 3rd, Doherty 2nd, Ivar on 1st. McHugh gets under it. And it's caught by Dones. BU, 3 runs in the bottom of this 5th inning, and the Terriers have flipped the script. We go to the 6th. Army has 6 outs to work with, trailing by 1. But BU, with 3 runs in the bottom of that frame, taking its first lead of the game. And we were hypothesizing about whether we would see a change in the circle again with Ricard re-entering. We will not. Danica Nell stays out there to face 7, 8, 9. And we will see a pinch hitter as Macy Sigler leads things off. Sigler, the .252 batter for Army. On the ground, Lucier. Nice play. That's a tough bounce to deal with for the first out.
That is, but she stayed with it. Her body in front of it. A great play there. And like I said, BU is playing more alive now. You can see the energy kind of shift. They're playing more loose. They have that 1-run lead. So we're seeing a more comfortable BU squad out there on the defensive side.
Here's Micah Dones. Dones couldn't get that bunt down. Dones 0 for 2, a couple of ground outs for the all-conference player. In the midst of a breakout season, she had never hit above 178 over her first 3 college seasons. Now as a senior, .353 batting average.
Wow. Like we constantly talk about, it can just take one swing to kind of change the trajectory of your entire offensive season.
Also shows the player development in this Army program.
And we see a lot of that and hear a lot of stories just about how much these cadets and athletes grow throughout the 4 years. They're tested every day in the academy. It's bound to show in their athletic ability as well.
1-2 from Danica Nell. Hope to Lucier. 2 outs.
Quick 1-2 for Boston, but adding on to that, just being at the academy, it's a higher caliber of average student. You just see cadets jogging around all the time with each other, groups of 20 to 25 people just constantly jogging in the cold and the hot. It's just constant hard work here at the academies.
Yeah, such an adjustment, so different. The student athletes in general have to deal with so many tough things, but it's a different level at the academy.
Yep.
Here's Sienna Tepley, the freshman, second-team all-conference player. Army needs an offensive spark. Top of the order on deck. Nell an out away from getting through the sixth. We have to give her a lot of credit. The freshman came in her postseason debut and to shut down this Army offense.
Yeah, in a hard moment too. I less than 5 pitches by Ricard in the beginning and coming in. But that's what they do for each other. I think Nell and Ricard have this special relationship where they want to succeed for each other and to help each other out.
And Nell in particular had that injury. She missed some time. She wanted to get back to support Casey Ricard, to ease the burden on the BU ace. She's a strike away from getting through the sixth.
And I think what makes this team special, and this is actually from Coach Ashley Waters, she said that this team feels for each other. She's seen athletes cry when other athletes have gone injured just because they care for each other so much. And that's what makes this team so strong, is just the chemistry and connection that they have off the field.
1-2 from Nell. Again fouled away.
When we talk about kind of the championship mindset, I feel like that is kind of the core of the championship mindset, because through these tournaments, it's long days, it's a long weekend. You're going to go through ups and downs, and just having each other's backs, that's going to be huge in times like these.
Two balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs on the 9-hitter, Sienna Tepley. Again fouled away. I think that may have hit the concession stand.
I heard some kind of
There was a thud.
thud.
Again the 2-2 from Nell. Got her! Strike 3 swinging. Danica Nell, what a performance. And we go to the bottom of the 6th. Boston U a chance to add some insurance runs after this. It started like this. Taylor Brown giving Army the edge.
Yeah, Army starting this game off strong and keeping the 2-0 lead until the 5th, but BU just striking back after an offensive lull for the beginning of this one. And it was off this throwing error that 2 runs scored. And then they were able to get a third from this base hit. And now BU has a lead 3-2. What a change in events that we've seen in the past inning.
BU a chance to add some insurance runs. Brown, of course, that home run, but Depias and Doherty in that 5th inning coming up big. 1 and 3 hitters in this BU lineup, the heroes so far. Kiyomi Pollitt leads things off. 7-8-9 due up. And this is exactly where the Terriers started last inning. All 9 batters stepped up to bat for BU. It's Pollitt, Christopher, and Lucier hitting. Pollitt watches ball 3. Caitlin Flanders in the circle, on in relief for Brianna Izzo. Finds the strike zone. Flanders has gone 2/3 of an inning, gave up 1 hit, did hit 2 batters. And the count runs full.
And Flanders fighting back with this count.
Paulette Christopher Lucier. In the bottom of the sixth, the 3-2 lifted away foul. BU seeking a third consecutive Patriot League tournament title. Would be its 8th all-time since joining the league back in 2014, and would result in the program's 14th NCAA tournament appearance. And Paulette draws ball 4 to lead off the 6th.
We talk about it again and again, but just the curse of allowing free people off on base is what's been killing teams throughout this tournament.
It's in discussion with Ashley Waters and Olivia Christopher. You wonder if BU decides to lay down a bunt just to get Paulette over to second.
Yeah, and getting a runner on base, certainly not something you want to do with who's coming up in the lineup.
Christopher 0 for 2, though she did get on via E1 back in the 5th. She does lay down the bunt. Paulette's in there, and BU has a runner in scoring position.
And Christopher doing her job there, moving Paulette over in a good position to score.
Addie Lucier 0 for 1. Though she did walk, and later came around to score. It was actually the tying run of this game. Bottom 6, Army will have one more chance after this in the top of the 7th, and the Black Knights will be in a good spot lineup-wise. Top of the order due up for Army. Have to get through this inning first. That's a fair ball over to first. Not in time. What hustle by Addie Lucier. And it snaps that prolonged hitless streak.
Yeah, Lucier even hesitated for a second.
Oh, check that. That is foul.
I think she hesitated because it was foul. A close one.
One, two, and Lucier. There's one more look. Oh, that bat goes flying.
Oh my goodness. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Oof. And the umpires will confer. That is a scary moment. Hurst thankfully able to get out of the way.
I'm not sure what you do on that one.
And it's just a foul ball.
Clearly just an accident there.
So Lucier stays in the box after that bat went flying. One, two. Two from Flanders. Full count coming. And the top of the order is on deck for Boston U. Lucier loops it. Oh, what a catch! Brianna Kuhnfair. Out number 2.
Great play there by Army. That was full effort. Laying out for that one. We'll get another look at this. What a catch. Sports Center top 10, I see incoming. Wow. Great effort here by the Black Knight.
What a play. And now it's Brooke Depies stepping in, and that's a risk by Coonfair. If that ball gets by her somehow, that's a run coming in. But she made the play. And we go to Brooke Depies, who was 1 for 1. Pardon me, 1 for 3, had that 2 RBI single last time up. 0-2 from Flanders. Depies smacks it to Coonfair. And we are through 6. Here we go, folks. Do not change your channel. We go to the top of the 7th. Army, one final chance to keep its season alive, down by 1. We go to the top of the 7th, and this tournament comes down to this, potentially. Army must score at least 1 run to keep this game going. The Black Knights must win this game to force the decisive Game 7. Meanwhile, for Boston U, a win in this game, 3 outs away from doing so, will clinch a 3rd consecutive tournament title. Annie Christiana leads things off. 1, 2, 3 due up as Danica Nell stays in the circle. And there is out number 1. Cameron Lyons brings it in. Here's Taylor Brown. Brown had that home run back in the 1st, facing the freshman in Danica Nell. Ashley Waters rolling with the first-year player in this critical moment. Nell came in at the top of the 1st after that Brown 2-run home run and has completely shut down this Army offense. And what a job she has done in the biggest of spots. On the ground, Depies can't make the play. Got by 2 BU players, goes down as a single, and Army has the tying run on base. Life for the Black Knights. Watch this. A chance for Nell, then Depies had a stab at it. Neither player able to make the play. Here comes Ashton White, the player of the year in the Patriot League. What a moment. This is who you want up if you're Army. Nobody better in the conference. And a visit to the circle. White is 2 for 3. We did see Casey Ricard tossing in the bullpen earlier. She has since sat down. So Danica Nell remains out there in this 3-2 lead. Nell, this is her first appearance of the postseason in her college career. She's a freshman from Manitoba, Canada. And the infield huddling up in the circle. Boston U 2 outs away from its 8th Patriot League tournament title since joining the league back in 2014. Army must win this game to force the decisive 7th game. Here we go. Nell versus the player of the year, Ashton White. White watches, 2-1. Army head coach Jen Consul said it's White's determination that sets her apart. She remembers seeing Ashton White at a camp when they recruited her and just saw that look of confidence in her eye. Here she is, a crucial spot. Takes strike 2. Two from Nell. Over to second. Loose here. makes the play. White beats it out. And Army is down to its final out. Comes down to this. Caitlin Newbern, 0 for 2. The all-conference junior out of Napa, California. Can Danica Nell finish this out and deliver a third consecutive conference tournament title to the Terriers? BU all-time 28-4 in this tournament, 9-0 against Army. This Black Knights team, however, won the regular season title. A gritty bunch, home fans behind them. Season on the line. Two-0 on Newbern, who did hit a home run yesterday. Newbern lifts it, and it's brought in. It's a three-peat. The Patriot League trophy is shipping up to Boston once again. The Boston University Terriers claim their 8th Patriot League tournament crown. 3-2 the final. Boston U has done it again. And a 14th trip to the NCAA tournament is coming up for the Terriers. Third straight championship. This time it came